Hello and welcome. It's Motivational Monday by Jim and Lucy, and today we have a special guest that she will help us understand why we should stop being nice and just be kind. Hello, this is Katie Ervin. Hello, Katie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure having you.
We're glad to have your brilliant attitude here. It's really refreshing, and we see a lot of happy people, but there's something about you that's just magnetic.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much. I love sharing this type of talk and being able to share a little bit of my experience with you and your audience.
Well, good. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to help a lot of people today.
So tell us more. Let's start from me asking you more about your amazing business. It's a catalyst development.
Yes, so I am the founder and CEO of Catalyst Development, and we are a real intentional leadership skill building company. And so we like to say, it's not why you should be a strong leader, but how you be a strong leader. And so we work with clients and companies to help them build their leadership skills and not just talk about why they want to be a strong leader. And so we've been doing this full time for about 7 months, but it's been something that I've been working on, really building the programs for the last 16 years.
That's impressive.
It's very impressive, but somehow, what was it that caused you to take this from a incubator status, if you will, a dream, and actually launch it into a reality?
Yeah, it's so many people talk about being a better leader, and so many people talk about, we need these skills, and whether you call them soft skills or career skills, we call them career and power skills. Everyone calls them something different, but there's so much talk about we need these skills, but there's not a lot of organizations out there doing the practical training. And so we do training, and we are proud to say it doesn't matter your career skill or level. These skills matter. So we do this type of training for college age 18-year-old, all the way up to 60, 65 senior leaders. And so the skills are the same. We all need to learn how to, lead with humility. We all need to learn communication skills. How do we create an environment of acceptance? So we do that real practical work, teaching people how to do it. And I was just sick of talking about it. Like, we need to stop talking about the skills gap and do something about it. And so I'm lucky that my organization's doing that.
Well, that is really impressive. I mean, just imagine 5 years from now, we look at the number of people you will have helped, and just, as a consequence, helping society rather than just talking about it.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, there's a lot of things I can't fix and I can't cure, but the skills gap is something that I have the background and expertise to do. And so if we can help people gain these career and power skills, we can help them gain meaningful employment, which will close the skills gap and the wage gap. So it protects those people that are unemployed and underemployed really get meaningful employment. So it's really a powerful bit of work we do. But the cool thing is, we do it all the time. So I don't want to say it's easy, but it's second nature for us because it's what we're passionate about and what we do.
Yes.
It is impressive. Well, Katie, coming back to our topic, stop, be nice, and be kind. What what is it? Is it a formula for becoming a better leader, becoming a better person, or just that little hint towards the change that we're all seeking?
Yeah, so we say all the time, we've got to stop being nice. And I think people kind of are like, what? We teach our kids to be nice. It's not enough to be nice. We need to be kind. And what we mean by that, and it's not just in the workplace, it's in everything. It's that we don't want to hurt people's feelings, so we tell them what they want to hear. And so we're so afraid of being honest because it might hurt someone's feelings that we're really not being kind to them. And so the example I give all the time is very basic, but if we ask a friend or a partner or whatever, like, how do I look? Do I look good? And they're like, you look fantastic. And then we go out and we like catch a glimpse of ourselves and we're like, we kind of look like a hot mess. Why didn't anyone tell us? Well, they were trying to be nice and not hurt her feelings, but it was really unkind because someone didn't mention that, hey, you might want to change your outfit. You might want to do something. And when we think about it in the workplace, we're so afraid sometimes to hurt people's feelings that we don't tell them things and activities that they're doing that is limiting their growth. And so someone may be acting like a jerk, but we don't tell them because we're afraid of not being nice to them. So we've got to stop worrying about being nice and we got to be real kind and honest with people.
Do you think that goes against what some people might say human nature?
Yeah. I mean, we tease because I'm in Kansas City, we tease about Midwest nice. It's not Midwest nice. It's all around the world. People just want to, be supportive of each other. And so and we'll talk about some tips and tricks later, but it's about having that relationship with people where you can say, I care about you so much as a friend, as a partner, as a business associate. I care about you and I want you to be successful. And so therefore, I'm going to, tell you the truth to help you get there.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, is there a fine line between being rude and what you call be kind in terms of, you know, telling the truth? Because many will consider like telling that you might want to change or you might want to advance here or there in your skills. Many will consider it being rude, insensitive.
Yeah. And it's all in the technique of how you do it. It's funny. I was just my 19-year-old daughter called me the other day and she said, I think I need to have a difficult conversation with someone. Can you walk me through it? And the very first question I asked her was, why do you want to have the conversation? Like, is the conversation because you want to feel better or because you think it's going to help this person grow? So, really, the first step is what's the why? Are we telling someone something because it's going to help them be successful or, help them progress? Or are we telling them something because, quite frankly, we don't like them or they've rubbed us the wrong way and we're like, well, we just want to let you know this about you. And so that's the step one is why are you going to have this kind conversation with them? And if the reason the kind conversation is about you and not them, then you should say nothing at all. Forget nice, forget kind, don't say anything at all. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, then you have to come in with the right intention and it's for their growth and not yours.
Yes.
Hmm. Well, another question then, is there any difference when it comes to leadership? For example, what the boss allowed to tell employee or subordinate or what is not allowed?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about leadership, um, we're getting to the days past where it's like I'm your boss and do what I say and not as I do, and kind of that dictatorship type of behavior. And now we're moving more and more towards, it's about a relationship. And so, me as a leader, whether I have a title or not, it's my responsibility to share with my people, hey, this happened, and I'm not sure it was the intent that you came across. And so, we got to be really careful how we share it. We don't want to share it in front of other people. We want to pull someone aside and say, I care about your career progression. So, I want to have this difficult conversation with you and, in the meeting, you mentioned this. I'm not sure that's how you intended to come across, but that's how you came across. And so, for a leader, it's how we plan it out and how we have that conversation that's really, really important. And it can't be personal. It can't be, what, like you, so I'm just going to cut you off at the knees. We want to make sure that we're again doing it for the right reasons.
Mm.
Yes, I can see your point because it's not just giving negative. It's not giving negative feedback. It's more than giving constructive feedback. It's it's you're not. There's not any harm intended. You really want to see the person progress.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been married to my husband almost 23 years. And we have kind conversations with each other. I mean, we hold each other accountable. It's not, he has to be the one that tells me when I'm not coming across the way I would be proud to come across. I am a very emotional person. And so if I don't take a deep breath, sometimes my emotions can get the best of me. And, after a situation, he has to be able to look me in the eyes and say, you didn't handle that a way that you'd be proud of. And, that's kindness to come to me. And it doesn't always feel good. And there's times that I have to be like, oh, yep, I dropped the ball. Now I have to own it. But it takes self-reflection as well. So we gotta be able to come from it from both sides.
I respect you for reaching that level of self-reflection where you recognize where your strength and, I hate to say, weaknesses are, and what you need to work on. And that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's times when, those weaknesses or growth opportunities present itself that you have to take a deep breath and remember person sharing it with you, they're sharing it because they care about you. And, especially when it's a spouse or a friend or a confidant at work, you know, they're telling you this because they want you to grow. And so it doesn't always take the sting out of it because we all want to be our best selves. So we have to really breathe it in, hear it with the intent that it's coming in, and then make decisions to grow from it.
So if I'm wearing these pair of too tight jeans that I bought off of Amazon, and I asked Lucy, how do I look? And she says, she,
Yeah.
she, she, she should give me the hard decision and say, honey, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. It's that, would we rather want Lucy to tell you or people in the restaurant be like, oh boy, what does he got on? They're never going to say it to you, but they're going to think it. And so it's better for someone who loves us to say, oh, no.
It wasn't that bad, okay.
It wasn't. Well, Katie, thank you very much for sharing. That's a really important skill to develop. One more question I have for you. In order to start working on this, being kind, not just being nice, what are the pitfalls? What are the stop factors to watch in order not to overdo it from the beginning or do it the right way?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to start this is to let people know you're working on it. If we don't tell people we're working on it, then we come in hot and just are like, hey, I need to talk to you about that outfit you're wearing, or hey, in that meeting, you really did not come across the way you want. People are gonna be like, first of all, who do you think you are? And second of all, what are you doing? So, coming in before and say, I'm working on this. I want to make sure that people around me know that I care about them so much that I'm going to celebrate kindness with honest feedback. And so starting with that so people know, and then also that vulnerability to say, I'm not always going to get it right, but I'm working on it and I want to work on it with you. And so if you're just starting this process, start it with someone you have a really good relationship with. Start there and have that. Like, I'm going to practice this with you. I'm not always going to get it right. So let's talk about how I don't get it right. And then you can keep growing in those skills and that confidence. I've had it one time where I did it with an employee. I've been doing it for, almost 15 years at this point, and I did it with an employee that I was trying to save. And at the end of it, he said, I don't like the way you did that. Like, I appreciate the message. I don't like the way you did it. And I just had to tell him, thank you for trusting me enough and caring about me enough to give me feedback so I can
Yes.
get better at this. So it takes that relationship building.
Well, that's really respectful. I admire how you were able to do this. Not only reflect upon yourself, but at the same token, you had an employee that felt comfortable enough to explain that to you. I hate to use that term, the overused term, vulnerability, but that's what it is. Now, do you find it's difficult for some women to do this, as opposed to
It's
make sure it's the
interesting.
same?
Yeah, I don't know that it's a gender thing. I think it is just, people's comfort level with self-awareness and vulnerability. I see this, I coach men and women. I work with teams with both men and women. And I think, some of us have an old school mentality of, I come to work and I punch the clock and I go home and that's it. And we're not going to have a
Yes.
relationship. Well, that doesn't work anymore. I mean, we're all so humanized, which I think is so important, not just in the workplace, but in our personal relationships too.
I hope our clients, our listeners will reach out to you either on LinkedIn or your website because you have some great insights. And the way you talk about it is very comfortable. It makes us not want to be retaliatory against anyone, but make us want to be, as you say earlier, human.
Yeah. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. It's all about the people. It's all about relationships.
I applaud you and your daughter for having such a wonderful relationship that she had a problem and she came to you and asked for your opinion about it. How marvelous.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes, I'm
I think
impressed.
I think fortunately for her at this point, she appreciates what she was brought up in, early in her teenage years. I don't think she appreciate that her mom does professional development all day, every day. I tell her a lot of times, the lessons you're learning today is not for your teenage self. It's for your 20-year-old self. It's for your 30-year-old self. It's for your growth. And so we got to just keep learning these lessons.
This is good stuff. I highly recommend our listeners work with you, uh, corporate wise or personal. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, so my website is just katieervin.com. We wanted it to be Catalyst Development, but it was going to be way too expensive to buy
Oh,
that URL. So it's just katieervin.com. All of our contact information and everything is on there. And I have an amazing team of women that work underneath me. And so we love helping people unleash their leadership superpowers.
well, every person that contributes right now that Katie calls her for coaching should be able to buy that long domain name. All right. We wanted to be able to do this. And everyone that does it, I will eat a bug on the podcast. All right.
And I want to see that.
All right.
So our dear listeners, once again, it's katieervin.com. You can find a link in the description to this episode. Thank you very much for joining us, Katie.
Thank you.
This is Motivational Monday by Jim and Lucy.
Follow our podcast.
And check out our website, jimandlucywoods.com.